And we're live. All right. Thank you for joining us on the GITV live show. It is 4:31 on September 20th, 2016. We've thankfully got Spartan117GW, aka Greg Wong. Oh, that should be reversed. Here in the office today. You've thankfully brought in some pretty cool parts from PTS, as well as some new stuff that you guys might be coming out with. Isn't that correct?
Yes. So we're actually working on bringing this platform to the market. So that's actually a real rail that we had to modify heavily to fit on this VFC Scar Heavy.
Mhm.
But kind of gives you an idea of what we're shooting for, because obviously this thing's like $300-400, but what we're shooting for is in like the 120-130 range. But what we're kind of looking to do is basically bring a rail to the market that'll basically change the profile, the silhouette, and the look of the Scar. The Scar is one of those platforms that's very static or stagnant. It was meant to be, in a way, is kind of like the Masada. It was adaptable, it had all these interchangeable parts, but you always end up seeing just kind of the same variants or versions of it. You don't really see a whole lot of change or evolution of it. So the rail is going to be really cool. Obviously on this one I also have set up, I have the enhanced polymer vertical grip, this is the compact version. Also have our rifle grip. So if you guys weren't aware, our rifle grip works on the VFC Scars just like all the other M4s.
Now, for those of you that have been paying attention to our social media, we have a stupid cheap deal on VFC Scars right now, which is one of the reasons I asked Greg to bring in, some cool PTS furniture. And it just works out that you guys are working on developing this rail for the Scar.
Yes.
Now, this is actually way more lightweight than I expected.
Yes. Well, here's what's cool about the whole concept of the KDH rail. Connected Development KDG. So, by removing some of the original rail segments and pieces and adding something that's lightweight onto it, on the real Scar, the rail only adds 1 ounce because you're removing everything else. So you're basically giving yourself way more room to work with. You're practically, the amount of weight difference is practically like, it's basically a non-issue. Like 1 ounce, no one's really gonna play with it. All those ounces do equal pounds, but if you only change by 1 ounce, it's really not gonna be a problem. Even though I have the IR device set up here, theoretically what it means is you can actually mount IR device up here. This rail is a little bit long, like there's different lengths of the MREX. This is just one different version of them. This one's not the M-Lock version, it just has the direct bolt attachment. But so some of the rails will actually be a little bit shorter. I have the 7.62 heavy with the long barrel installed. So the barrel is actually comes out to about here, and this is just the old school 7.62 PTS muzzle device on there. But it really goes with the platform. The Scars were known for having that type of muzzle device. So,
now, I gotta say, I actually do like the enhanced grip on here. Obviously, the longer version wouldn't be as necessary because you're going to put the battery back here, but the short grip actually fits really well with this build.
Yes.
Is this how you would run this model of Scar out in the field?
I'd either run it with the Fortis grip or with that. Unless the only time I run the full length, EPF battery grip is on like my ERG because it's wired to the front.
Of course.
But this is kind of how I would have it set up. You just need a nice little kind of slim vertical grip that's just out of the way and just doesn't stick out too much. And it's simple. I just keep it simple. I try not to dress up the guns too much.
Absolutely. Now, for those of you guys that are watching, Greg, I believe you're actually going to be picking up Scar L right after this, isn't that correct?
Indeed.
Yeah. And speaking of Scar Ls, I have those EPM mags I got from you a little while back. I think the EPM mags look really good in the Scar L.
Especially the tan ones. The Scar is like one of the tan guns. The only other one is like the Masada. It's one of the few guns that really works well in tan. But our tan EPMs, they work great in the VFC Scar. Now, out of curiosity, let me check out that one you have over there that is the light model. Yes, this is the Scar Light. And, fun fact.
Fortis grip, yeah, nice.
See, I have a unique history with the Scar that probably not a lot of people in the airsoft industry have. So, I actually got to go to the Joint Armorers course when I was at Fort Bragg. They needed a couple guys to go to FN, get trained up on some Scars, because one of the missions of USASOC was send people to go basically train people in foreign countries on different weapons platforms. And one of the main weapons platforms that other countries are buying are FN Scars.
Really?
A lot of F2000s, you'd be surprised. That P90s, stuff like that. So I got to go to FN in Virginia. We stayed there for a couple days to a week. And yeah, we got to work on scars, P90s, F2000s. We got to shoot the 5.7. Well, we got to shoot all of them. So it was kind of cool. So I literally got to disassemble like the entire thing and put it back together again,
That's
which was
pretty
pretty
awesome.
cool. And man, there's some ball bearings in there. It's like I'd be putting the selector back. There goes the ball bearing. Like, I was like, I didn't need one of those. But it's a really cool experience. You kind of get to see all the different intricacies inside the receiver and everything like that. Personally, for me, I think the only thing I'd really change with the scar in the front half of the rail is probably like the stock. The UGG boot, yeah. I mean, and that's what's great is KDG makes the Masada or ACR stock that goes on there.
You showed me that last time we were here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little bit more, in my opinion, it's just more solid. You know, I just feel like I don't know, VFC scars or scars in general. It's like I always the positioning, the way scar stocks lock is always kind of weird. But I just like how how slim the ACR stock goes on.
I will say it gives it a much more unique look, and I'd say a slightly more attractive look to the eye.
Yeah, and it's nice to have something different. But yeah, this one, the only thing I really threw on it was obviously I have an optic, I have an Enforce light, I got the PTS Fortis grip on there. That's the Picatinny version. But yeah, I mean this is more or less your kind of run-of-the-mill Scar Light, and it's CQC or CQB configuration.
I'll be honest, I actually hadn't seen a Fortis grip on a Scar until just this moment. I actually really like the look of it, and it's a really comfortable feel, so I might be trying to pick up on these Fortis grips
I run
soon.
a lot of guns like that. I like the Enforce WML, so when HSP comes out with their new one, I'll probably pick that one up too. But I don't know, I like it because not only does my hand, you know, it's basically an indexing point, so I can grip like this. But if I don't need to use the light, I basically use it like a giant thumb brake. Like I have something to push down on, like a Go Gun gas pedal, except it's a light. So basically, I can grip this whole thing, and it
Pretty
just
firm
gives me
grip.
something to attach to.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions for Greg in the comments or about VFC scars, again, feel free to throw that in the comments. I will try and monitor those as best I can. We do have a comment moderator out in the front office, so I'm sure he will.
Oh, he's answering all the questions?
Yeah, well, at least some of them that he can. Hi, Chris Bennett. So yeah, in case you guys are looking to get a Scar model, we do have, I believe it's the lowest price in the world currently on VFC Scars while they last. I believe this model which you're picking up is around, I believe it's $268.99. I believe the SSR model, which is the DMR setup, I think that's like $170 off, because I think that comes over like $500.
See, that's what's like, I mean, like, it's just crazy, because a few years ago, like, all the scars, every single scar was like 300, 400 and up.
Yeah,
and so
like
I was like, oh
390
my
or
god, this
something.
is a great deal. And
Yeah.
it's a VFC scar. How can I pass that up?
No, we got a stupid good price on it, and yeah, as Greg mentioned, you know, VFC is very well known for their external quality and internal build quality of their guns. So that's why we're definitely trying to push this for someone who's wanting to get into that higher end gun market. You can do it at a medium tier price, so it's a really good deal.
I mean, it's like you're getting like a top end gun for under $300.
Yeah, it's pretty
a
ridiculous.
Scar. And I was like, you know what's funny? I posted about it the other day, and a few of my buddies were like, I may have the scar bug again.
Yeah.
it's so affordable, and like they had like what 4 or 5 different scars a few years ago. I mean, now that Cybergun's really working the license, I think VFC is the only one that's really making the license scars.
Yeah, VFC's making the license one. I can't remember if Cybergun or Palco have the licensing on it or not. Classic Army has their ISSC, which is basically a 22 version that looks similar to it. Yeah. Which I'm sure in the civilian market of real firearms is much more affordable than buying a real firearm Scar. So.
Yeah, well, it's a 22, and 22s are fun to think with.
Oh yes.
And, yeah, if you've never tried 22, everyone makes fun of it, but when you're at the range, you can have a lot of fun with 22.
Oh yes, and plus you can carry a lot of that ammo at a very lightweight.
If you can find it, because there's some places around here, 22 ammo is actually quite, it's like
I always
becoming more
stock up.
scarce. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes, you always.
Yes. Now that being said, I actually want to break into this because you don't play very many video games. You don't play Battlefield very often at all.
Well,
That's a joke. I know you play video games. Just before you take it literally, I actually always really like using the Scar Heavy in Battlefield. It seems to provide a lot of knockdown power and is just a lot of fun to use.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how the games have portrayed the Scar. Oh, and speaking of Battlefield, so if you play Battlefield 2, they basically, I think they took a picture of the original Scar prototype, and that's what ended up in the game. because if you look at the Scar in Battlefield 2, it has like the grip is the same grip that's like on a saw.
Oh.
And like if you ever look like I guess there's a saws in it.
No.
That really big.
Yeah, I know
grip,
what you're talking about. Yeah,
That's
the
what
Belgian
was
one.
on it. And here's what's crazy is like you can tell just because of like the silhouette of the boot is a little bit different. And it was funny because when I was at FN, they pulled out a drawer, and lo and behold, there's the original Scar prototype.
Wow.
And like I had just missed by days, they actually have a Scar PDW that was featured in Medal of Honor Warfighter. That's like one of the Scars. I'm like, why has no one made this? It's like a Scar that's this big with the PDW stock.
That's crazy.
It's like that big. It'd be great. Oh my god. But yeah, I mean like yeah, the Scar in Medal of Honor was pretty cool too. But yeah, it's just cool to see.
You're talking about Medal of Honor Warfighter, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Warfighter. They have the PDW Scar, and I was like, I played it, and then when I went to FN, I was like, do you guys have that gun here? Like, oh no, we just missed it by a few days. Like,
dang it. I had fun playing that game. I mean, I know it got a lot of bad press, but it was still.
I think it was a good game.
Yeah.
It wasn't perfect, and I know campaign-wise, a lot of the guys that I knew, like Kevin Vance and stuff, who worked on the game, they changed a lot of what was in the campaign, so it wasn't what they had originally intended.
I didn't know Kevin Vance worked on that.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Well, his face is in the game.
Touche.
His character, the character you play, is him.
Well, wow. Well,
Yeah.
when I replay, which I will now, I'm going to probably.
The character
go
of
crazy.
Medal of Honor is like there's a cutout of him in the Airsoft GI retail store. It's pretty funny.
Damn.
I sent him a picture of that last time. I was like, look, it's you.
That's funny.
But yeah, the Scar Heavy is a really popular platform. I think you guys didn't you guys do a TGH with the Ranger loadout? With the
Yeah,
Scar?
we brought a gentleman named Jason in, who's a friend of some of the folks here in the marketing and tech department. And yeah, he had a Ranger impression, 2012 circa, and yeah, it's a pretty good kit. I mean, it's definitely not the most affordable build, but when you've had time to build up what you're wearing, you know.
It's funny because one of my buddies who's in First Ranger Band, he runs the Scar. I can't remember if he runs the Scar Heavy or Light, but I'm pretty sure he runs the Heavy.
They get a choice on what they can use, right?
I think so. Because like when we picked up the kinetic license, I had messaged him. I was like, "Hey, dude, you should check out this rail and equip some of your guys." So I'm not sure, but either A, he's gotten one, or he's waiting to get one, or if his unit's looking at getting some of the kinetic rails for the Rangers, which would be cool for us. Come on, Joe.
That'd be legit.
Yeah.
I see there are some questions about where you can get some of these stuff or who makes these. So just so you know, a lot of the furniture on these guns are PTS products, like these two grips.
Yeah, like the foregrips and the rifle grip. Yep.
Very correct. Very true. And these guns are actually VFC Scars, which we currently have on special at, I'll say it again, a stoop cheap price, because these are high-end guns and they are below $300, which is ridiculous.
You know, I always thought it was cool that Scars, their Stanag mag is just ever so slightly different than a regular mag. I always thought that was cool. And
Why is that? Do you know?
I'm not sure why. I mean, it's probably for feeding, if anything, kind of similar to what HK does. I think they're steel mags or whatever. Because HK mags, like real steel HK mags, are heavy.
Yeah.
But I mean, guys like them because they're reliable.
I'm sure, but a bit
so
more durable
I'm pretty
too.
sure. I'm pretty sure that's one of the reasons why VFC wanted their own. Not say proprietary, but designed their own Stanag that kind of fits the look of their gun, but also maybe has slightly better functionality and feeding.
Well, that is pretty cool. Now, Greg, you have also recently had the chance to play Battlefield 1, which is definitely a very exciting up-and-coming game. I was actually asking the staff out here before we got here when it was coming out, because I just need to save up money to get it.
October 21st. Yeah. So yeah, it's next month.
I feel like I'm gonna have to upgrade my PC for that. But what are your thoughts on that game versus going from playing Battlefield 4?
What I like about Battlefield 1 is, like, the problem with doing contemporary or modern or futuristic games is that developers have infinite ways to come up with ways to kill the player, as opposed to you look at things that have only physically been done or conceptualized. You're only working, like, basically you only have what you can work with what is available or what was really made. So there's kind of some limitations to all the crazy ways to kill the player. So in a way, it kind of breaks the combat down to its basics. You don't have all
There's
these
gas though. There's still chemical warfare.
There's still
which isn't really around anymore.
It's
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting setup because like all the guns are much more simple. It's more about the actual battle than what you're necessarily running in there with. Because I feel like in a lot of games, it's like you have these game-breaking weapons, or it's just like all these perks and all this other stuff. Battlefield 1 just takes it down to the basics, where it's just really good, pure gun-on-gun gameplay. Got a lot of good bolt-action rifles. You got a lot of good basic submachine guns, weapons that suit their classes and stuff like that. I don't know. That's why I like it. It's just good old-fashioned, just very kinetic, battle between players in the game.
Yeah, well, I was surprised that there were, that many more semi-automatic weapons in the game. Because, when you think about World War One, you think a lot about bolt-action rifles.
The standard issue weapons, for the most part, were bolt-action weapons. But, the thing about a video game is you can take weapons that are less common, and you, by definition of it being a video game, you kind of make it more common than it would really be. All these kind of niche weapons that weren't as mainstream in World War One, because they've done the research, theoretically they were around then, or they were conceptualized, or this and the other, or they were there, maybe not in as large numbers as your standard, bolt-action infantry rifle, but they were around. So obviously in video games, because you only have like a couple weapons per class, it seems like there are more semi-automatic and automatic weapons in the game than there may have been in World War One. But what's nice is they're still pulling from history. It's still authentic.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't. I don't think it breaks the game. If anything, it kind of makes the transition for a lot of people easier going from modern, because you're not just throwing them. Every single guy's got a bolt action gun, which would still be cool.
Yes.
But it does make the transition. It makes it easier for people to pick up and play. And there's still limitations on the guns and stuff like that. And it's just fun. It's a good game.
And there are other games if you want to go like very realistic, like Verdun. Like that's a very realistic World War One shooter. But just to move back in Airsoft, but still stay a little bit historical. Last time you were here, you were also talking about the feasibility of getting some World War II games going on. And I told you, I was like, I'm going to paraphrase, like, geez, Greg, like, doesn't seem like there's that much of a community, and not many people have uniforms. And there are a fair amount of people that have World War II guns in Airsoft. And then you mentioned that an event promoter is, possibly going to look at doing a World War II game. We don't have to say which one, because I don't want to like out them. But it led me to think, like, if someone creates a World War II Milsim game,
it's like if you build it, they'll come.
Bingo. So. I don't know why I didn't think of that.
So if you give a quality event with enough buzz and enough and time for people to get ready, then it'll hit big. Yeah. And I think it's kind of cool because we're having all these modern era and contemporary games, and I think it'd be kind of cool because like Airsoft started out that way, where it was like all themed and all era specific this or that, and then as the war really kicked off, like the real war kicked off, and all this gear became readily available and everything. Now everyone's just using whatever willy-nilly here and there, which isn't bad.
Yeah, of course.
But it's kind of like was when I saw the IDF guys running around at Copperhead, I was like, man, that's cool. We should have more of that.
I thought that looked legit too. I hadn't seen a legit IDF impression in a while. It actually kind of got me excited to try and do the same thing.
Well, I was like, because I love American Milsim and stuff like that, but it's just like themed games are cool. There's just something about it. I think we're at the point where especially guys like you and me who've been playing the sport for a long time. It's like, we've played so many weekend games. We've played so many contemporary Milsim events. It's nice to throw a curveball in there where there's something different, where you can like do a World War II game, or do a Vietnam game, or do like one of the other ones with a good event promoter, with people who will take it seriously and show up with the right gear, the right guns. And what I like about a World War II game is, like I said, you don't have all this crazy whiz bang stuff. Everyone is more or less wearing the correct gear, and it looks, everyone's fairly uniform, like much more uniform than your any regular Airsoft game would be nowadays. Everyone's got period correct weapons, and all the weapons are more or less perform the same, because there's not as many crazy optics and this, that, and the other. You have guys with 1903s, Springfields, or you guys BARs and stuff like that, but they're all fairly GI issued styles. So it kind of brings everyone on a level playing field. But it's just cool, because then you can look over like, oh, there's the Rangers over there, there's the 82nd guys over there,
yes,
101st guys over there.
That would be very interesting.
And so it'd be cool, like you have each platoon representing like a different thing, or you can have the British guys running around, and then I think a lot of guys could transfer to play the German army as well, because they have a lot of cool guns. Like,
oh yes.
They have some of the advanced weapons like the Sturmgewehr, it's like basically the predecessor to the assault rifle. Whoever's running around with that's going to have a huge advantage.
There was one gun that was, I believe, only issued to specific German paratrooper units, and I'm blanking on it right now.
Probably that one.
It's it's not the Sturmgewehr. It's I think it's like the FGM-4. It has a side-loading magazine, and like a third of the gun is the wooden stock. I'd literally have to pull it up. It's such a weird,
I would
wonky
have to
looking gun.
look it up.
Yeah, I don't think I can. Yeah, I can't show the desktop right now.
But,
go ahead.
Yeah, but I am planning on shooting like a World War II thing. So I mean, I'm looking to generate interest in the community. One for cosplay, reenactment, but also for Airsoft because it's cool, and then I love Band of Brothers and everything like that. And then once I realized how feasible it was to get all the equipment, like people think getting World War II stuff is expensive. In ways, it's yes and no. Because like if a guy's gonna spend like $600-700 on a full set of AOR1 digis, with that amount of money, I could build an entire World War II kit, head to toe, still have money to spare for the gun.
I'm trying to think, like 101st paratrooper uniform. How much, as an estimate, how much do you think that would run for an Airsoft player if you're going to build that?
Well, let's see. There's a couple different websites, or you can buy original gear if you can find it.
Cool.
But then again, original gear is like 7 years old. So
Yeah.
repro gear that's really good quality is probably your best option for playing Airsoft with, because it's like basically you have brand new gear essentially. But
I
it's
wouldn't
built
want to take
properly.
out like an actual uniform from back in the day and use it in Airsoft. I'd want to
Yeah,
preserve
I mean, like
that.
just reenactors. I mean, like we all like, oh my god, they're ripping apart an original gas mask bag.
Yeah.
Like, tear your eyes out. But it's one of those things like at the front is where I get most of my stuff from. They have everything head to toe, German, USMC, D-Day, paratrooper, everything for the most part, at least for American and German. And it's actually cool to see their selection of German products. It's like, wow, they have like a lot of different stuff. And like I said, once it adds up, sometimes it can get a little pricey. They do have economy uniforms.
Well,
that are
give us a
little
price
cheaper.
range, like
Let's
'cause
see.
my estimate would be like anywhere between like $300 to $400.
Let's see.
Based on what I saw.
I think without boots, their full head-to-toe D-Day loadout was like $370.
That's not bad.
But that's, I mean, sometimes they have like economy uniforms. So like, I kind of go with like, because you have like the economy stuff, then like standard or like a tier up. I'm usually either buy the standard or the tier up gear because I want it to really last.
Oh yeah.
But even then, it's still really good. It's really good gear. I mean, it's gonna last.
And a paratrooper uniform, a World War II American paratrooper uniform, can hold a lot of kit. Like there are so many pockets on it. It was very well designed for back in the day.
That's funny. You guys can't see her. My girlfriend's here, but she's laughing. She's like, I was wearing my M42 paratrooper uniform, and those pockets are big.
Yeah.
Those pockets are big. You can put a lot of stuff in them. I like their snap clothes. Their snap clothes pockets. Yeah.
I was actually going to say our secret supervisor for the day, but you just outed her, Greg, so way to go on that one.
Ha ha ha.
But you guys both do World War II reenactment, correct?
Yep.
I've seen photos of both you guys, and I believe you're rolling in an old World War II Jeep, wasn't it?
Well, like my buddy has a Willys.
Oh, nice.
He had it at Fort Mac. But yeah, like I got to ride in that. Like we were driving between our setup, and then there was a beach where there was a Sherman. And so there's a whole bunch of like, I was like, if we can get that Sherman to that next game, it'd be cool. It'd be like, call it Fury or whatever, and have your guys like traverse right, and like shooting at the Germans, and infantry's moving around and outmaneuver them. Be cool. Just run over everybody.
That would be bitching.
But just hearing that thing rolling, you just hear the tank treads like. I was like, oh, this is so good. It's so good.
I've got two questions for you, Greg. One that's Airsoft related, one that is not at all, but yet toy related. So when is the Mega Arms 308 gas blowback rifle coming out?
Still to be decided yet, but it's getting ever so closer to its release.
But
like more than likely, like probably in the next month or two, I'll probably get a message that'll be like, or an email from the guys in Hong Kong, like it's ready. It's like thanks.
I mean, you definitely want to make sure it's good to go.
It's close.
Yeah.
Like I have a functioning prototype at work. They're just ever so fine tuning, and like when you have a development schedule, even though. Well, you have different products. They're just kind of like one's in front of the other, and you just kind of knock them out in that order or whatever order that's predetermined. So I think it may be, it's probably the next one up because we just released a bunch of new things too. So.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, like as someone who's been in the industry for a long time, been playing for a lot longer than that, I would rather have a gun that has come out, that comes out that is finished in a fashion that it'll last, and not like have it be rushed out and have issues with the product. Like I'd rather wait and get one that's going to be reliable.
Well, yeah, I prefer that too. Like it's just like when you release something, you want people to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And not just that. Since I'm a player too, it's like I want it to work, and I will because I'm going to be using it. Because it's like I want it to be as good as it can be for the player, which is one of the reasons why I love the new stock, because it's like. That's probably the most player-friendly stock out there. You can fit like 4 batteries in there.
The other question was, if you could be any G.I. Joe character, what would you be? You think about that. I would be an alley viper because those were really rare, and I only got one, and they look legit. They were actually Urban Combat
You
Cobra
like Snake
character.
Eyes. Snake Eyes is pretty cool.
That guy does look really bitchy,
Yeah.
so I'll give you that. Are you
He's
gonna go with that?
Yeah, I'll go with Snake
Fair
Eyes.
play, fair play.
Doesn't he run around with 2 MP7s in
I
some
think
of the
so.
movies? Like,
Yeah, I think so.
You guys should have like a G.I. Joe sale or something.
Bobby, need to shave. Yes, I do. I ran out of time right before here because I had to get on a phone call.
He's a farmer.
Yeah. Greg, do you like your scar?
I do like the Scar. Like, I mean, like I said, for me, like, I've been a fan of the Scar ever since the first Airsoft version came out. Like, the first one was like a WeTech. And it's a cool gun. It's a nice alternative to an M4.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only problem was just there just wasn't as many aftermarket accessories for the Scar, and so the platform be kind of, not to say came stale, but just like just never evolved quite as much. So that's why I'm really glad that's happening because I'm like, thank God, now I can make Scars. It's like remodeling your house. You still love your house, but after a while it just looks like your house.
Yeah.
It's not like the first time you saw it. But then you do something to it, you add like a new wing or new this.
Gives you a
or
new
that,
perspective.
And then it's like, woohoo, look at this. This is hot. It's great.
Airsoft Titan is asking, Bob, would you play a World War II milsim? Now,
Yes.
Now, Greg obviously has declared his sincere interest to do that, and I'm sure our daily supervisor will be interested in maybe watching it and observing. Now, I'll be honest. Last time Greg mentioned, actually doing it, I was what's the correct word I'm looking for? I was skeptical to the point of cynicism, but once he told me that a certain event promoter was, making plans to possibly hold a game, it really changed my tune. So, if a event promoter does come out with a World War II game, I actually would. I'd be very down. I'd probably save us some money. I would definitely build a paratrooper kit.
Dude, build a paratrooper kit and get like a Thompson, and just because when I do all my World War II videos, because I'm filming all those next month, I'm gonna go into there's all these that's what's great. It's like I learned so much about the history, about the gear and the equipment, and kind of the heritage too, because I was in the 82nd too. It's kind of nice to learn about all those things. The 82nd and the paratroopers, they didn't realize there's like Thompson pouches and like M1 pouches and stuff, but then the airborne's like, why the hell do we have all these different pouches? So they made things called rigger pouches, which are kind of like bigger general purpose magazine pouches. So you didn't have to be specific. You could swap on the fly what weapon you were using. The Thompson one was the one exception because the mags were longer. But so now it's like you didn't have to have M1 carbine pouches and M1 Garand pouches. You just had rigger pouches that had plenty of room for like 5 or 6 M1 cartridge and or 7 M1 M1 carbines, and then you had for your regular M1 cartridge you could put like 5 of them in there. So it was nice, very adaptable and very fitting. I mean the riggers did all kinds of custom modifying to the uniform.
I believe that. All right, well, before oh yes, that's right. I'm sorry, Airsoft Titan. I got a dab. Greg, you want a dab?
Yeah.
There we go. All right. Actually, it's funny Airsoft Titan mentioned it because I actually saw a photo right before we got in here where everyone in the photo is dabbing and you're in the background going,
what?
like not knowing what's going on.
Oh,
so.
it's probably one of my con friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I believe
Flip
there was
dapping.
JP Jeep there.
A good bug is a dead bug.
Yeah.
I want to build the Starship Troopers loadout so bad, but it's so expensive.
It is really expensive, and
you can get all the screen new stuff. So expensive.
Yeah, but the armor and the helmets are hard to find or expensive, and it'd be cool if someone made the outfits. But I feel like there's a very limited market there.
You know what's funny? The base weapon system inside the Starship Trooper gun is basically a Mini 14.
Really?
Yes.
I believe
bolt
that.
up Mini 14.
What would they use for the shotgun? You got
I'm
nothing?
not really sure what they use for the shotgun.
Go, nothing. Now you do have something to show off to us right
yes.
here, so when we make a little bit of room.
In case you guys didn't know. Oopsie daisy. Well.
Yes, gotta show off the box.
This is what that is.
What's in the box?
So in case you guys didn't know, it's on GI's website, the new Mega Arms CQB. The last time I showed it off, it was like the pre-production prototype, but it's like, it's out now, so now we have the box, and now we have the final version, so let me go ahead and pull it out. I gotta love that sound. The sound of foam. There's nothing like the sound of a brand new gun coming out of a box. Yes. It has gas. Yeah, test all our guns.
There we go.
So this is that gun. So,
nice.
like I mentioned last time I showed off the prototype, this is exactly how it comes out of the box. You have your PTS enhanced polymer stock. It's got a complete pass-through QD sling loop. So if you don't use the QD, you can actually route 550 or one of the other like more advanced but simplistic slings through there, like Frank Proctor or Blue Force Gear.
Nice.
Straight through that when you have your standard loop here. It comes with the compact grip, which is really cool. And obviously it has the beautiful Mega Arms receiver. Like it's really nice. I kind of equate it to like a shark because like it's got like the gills on the side. Like I love how it looks. And of course it has the Mega Arms MKM rail system right there. So one complete beautiful package.
That is a very good looking gun, and I definitely do like the PTS LM4 lineups. And I do like the trigger and the enhanced.
Yeah, you know the trigger, even though it's not a flat trigger, but because of how it's built and the sloping and the angles and just the dimensions, it gives the feeling of what is perceived as better trigger reset. Because with the standard LM4, when you squeeze the trigger, it feels like there's a lot of slack. So the slack is basically you're squeezing the trigger, and you're squeezing. You hit the wall, it breaks, the weapon fires, and then it recycles. But what's really great is that the trigger, it just makes it feel like there's less slack. And also the trigger reset is also really good. Trigger reset, I don't know if you just heard it, it's when you can still hold the trigger, but you let it reset to the right past the breaking point, resets, you don't have to let all the slack out of the trigger, then you can squeeze it. But yeah, so it's very, very cool, and yeah, that's obviously one of the favorite things on here. And then, of course, there are a couple aftermarket parts you can put on this too. You could put on like the Raptor or the Mega Arms slide lock charging handle.
That would be my first thing to do. I absolutely love that on my PTS LM4. It's a really great addition if you guys are looking for something to add to, a gas LM. Yeah, they are, but man, do they work well. They work well.
And then the only other thing that I would change to this, once you get out of the box, we have the Battle Arms ambi selectors, so you can get it for the Mega Arms, and you have a fully customized ambidextrous setup, and you're good to go.
Let's see here. Raiden Knight is saying LM4 is not that great, though. I would respectfully disagree. One of the things that they did when they were designing the gun is they tried to design the magazines to work in colder climates where other gas magazines would generally not function or not function well at all. So that is one thing that the LM4 has above the competition, especially Wii guns. That's one of the things I have issues with is gas inefficient mags. And I've personally used my LM4, my PTS LM4, many times with you there.
I think I actually footage of
that run we did. I was like, hey Greg, you want to just run right at them? We're like, okay, and that was fun. That was a lot of fun because you had
I had my ERG 60.
And you had a tracer on it, so I could see the BBs going by. And I was like,
I think I had a white light. I think is what.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
Either that or I had the MFG. I had something on.
That was a lot of fun. Also, this gun does come with a polymer mag, a polymer gas blowback mag, which is pretty nice.
Yep. So one thing that we changed, and one thing that's great, it comes with all the mags. They have the new feedlet too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it comes with the EPM. This is the gas version. It actually is more or less the same. LM4 mags, backward compatible with all your LM4s as well. But see, complete little package here.
We actually got another question about the scars, and by the way, all of these guns are currently on our website for purchase. So if you like a VFC Scar Light, a VFC Scar Heavy, a Mega Arms MKM AR-15, these are all on our website for you to purchase right now. We do have a special deal on the VFC Scars, including the DMR platform, currently in limited quantity. But I'm curious, someone's asking which one is better, and as far as Scar L versus Scar H, and I think it comes down to personal opinion, because I prefer the Scar L just because I like to be able to switch, Stanag mags, M4 mags in between team members. However, the Scar H does give you a really unique look.
I would say, like, it is personal preference. In the real world, situation dictates, because the real reason that the USASOC stopped using the Mark 16 was because there really just wasn't a great performance increase over their current Mark 18 platform. But the Scar Heavy, what's great about the Scar Heavy, at least in the real world, is it gives you the 7.62 hitting power in a basically carbine lightweight package, essentially. The only major weight difference is the ammo weighs more, and you're carrying slightly less. In Airsoft, it kind of just depends which look you want. What I like about the 7.62 is you can really turn it into almost like pseudo DMR-ish kind of look. It's because it's kind of meant to fire the 7.62 cartridge. But the Scar, I think if you're doing a CQB setup, the Scar Light is better. But if you want to have a setup that's more geared towards being like a long range kind of look, then the Heavy is the one you want to go. But yeah, to each or, if you like if you don't mind having a whole new set of mags,
Mhm.
then the Scar Heavy is pretty cool. But yeah, with the Scar Light, you can use all your TM compatible mags.
Well, there's also the Scar SSR, which is essentially a Scar DMR platform that
fully
uses
dedicated platform.
and that uses a heavy mag.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, if you want to do that DMR platform, which is really cool and very unique looking, and right now very affordable with our deal.
One of our friends helped design that one too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. We're talking
Yeah.
about Centurion Arms.
So
yeah.
funny roundabout way, PTS is kind of tied to the Scar through Centurion Arms. The guy who makes all the Centurion Arms rails, which we have the license to, he was the Navy SEAL Sniper School NCOIC, and he was also in the program that helped develop the Scar, particularly the sniper variant, because, well, yeah, he was a sniper. But yeah, the reason why the Scar and other following similar platforms like the 417 are so long and so like beefy up front is because they were meant to have night optics in front of their day optics, so they can have all that set up.
I actually met that gentleman at the PTS booth.
Yep.
Very nice guy. And for those of you that don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, NCOIC means NCO in charge.
Yep. So
Good.
he was one of the guys who
Sort of like HMFIC.
Yep.
Yeah, if you can explain it. to
Well,
our
he's
viewers.
definitely the HMFIC of Centurion Arms.
Okay.
He's the head guy in charge.
Okay, I got a question I gotta ask Chris Bennett about, because someone's saying, Bob, Taco Bell or Taco John's? What the hell is Taco John's? Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's new on me.
I'm pretty sure you're like, hey, Taco Bell, yeah.
Well, I know there's, Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
It's a company I cannot stand because of things they do to farmers. But there's an actual company in Canada called Pirate Joe's, where the guy goes across the border, buys all the stuff he can, and then sells it at Pirate Joe's.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
Hey, Bob.
Yep.
Upgrade.
Oh yeah. Greg's referencing a Taco Bell commercial I did many years ago, where a lot of things get upgraded, including myself.
I remember watching that commercial.
It was fun. That was a fun shoot. I got to eat a lot of Taco Bell
Yeah.
taquitos, and they even gave me a spit bucket. I was like, no, these are great. Keep going. I think I ate about like 90. Let's see. Oh, also, guys, just I meant to give you guys a heads up earlier, but we are kind of near the end of the live stream. If the live stream cuts out, it's because I accidentally kicked this cable that is jury-rigged onto the back of our computer, making this live stream possible. So if it cuts out, I'm really sorry, and it's because I did something stupid and kicked the cable. That being said, someone's asking when the Masada ERG is coming out.
That one's still in development. I
Mhm.
have the prototype at the office.
Nice.
But yeah, that one's behind the 308. So the 308's coming first, and then still working on the Masada ERG.
Now, I almost hesitate to ask this because I feel like it's sort of offensive, but probably not so much. Hey Greg, can the PTS EPM work well with the A and K Masada?
I mean, theoretically, well, let's see. Did I ever try it with my old A&K? Obviously, it works with the PTS Masada.
Of course.
I mean, it should work fine with the A&K Masada. You
Okay.
really shouldn't have any problems with it. It's
Nice.
my B-Day. Happy birthday.
Wait, it's your birthday today? I
No,
thought it was a
no,
while.
no, that guy.
Oh, happy birthday. I mean, MPG official. Nice. Bob and Greg, multicam or Cryptek? You have both.
Kind of
so.
depends what you feel like. I mean, it's kind of like, camo is like fad, very faddish. So it's like what's in, what's out. When multicam first came out, it was in. Now it's like the only time I ever really wear multicam is when I have to, just because like everyone's got it.
Yeah.
It's a great camo, but everyone's got it, and the Cryptek's kind of cool because not as many people have it. I would say that multicam is probably a better camouflage, but Cryptek does look really, really cool. In fact, I'm wearing Cryptek right now. You can see
Or
it.
you?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that before.
Actually, oh yeah, this hat's a Typhon too.
Oh, nice.
These are my Jurassic World pants.
What do you think about the F2000? They're asking me, but I'd like to get your thoughts on it as well.
Okay, so the F2000. The real one, wasn't a huge fan of it. Like, it was funny because like after Splinter Cell and all these cool games, I was like, oh my god, I get to work on the real F2000.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of cool. The whole trigger package, everything comes out. But the F2000 is, for what it does, which is essentially basically what an M4 does in a bulb-up configuration, it just feels like there's just so much extra bulk and material. It's just beefy. It's like shooting a whale. It's just like, for what it does, you can have something else that does the same thing with much less weight, much less bulk, and in some ways better ergonomics. I mean, it's a cool collector's gun. I mean, for some people, they like it as a plain gun. For me, it's a little big. It's a little big. I got to mess around with one a little while back, an Airsoft version too, but it was just a little bit on the big side. I like, and the way they do the trigger, where it's like it's this giant mushy. To me, triggers just felt kind of mushy. Like,
Yeah.
with an AR, it's a very fine-tuned, crisp like reset, and it's like it's what you're manipulating just feels so different. Being an AR guy and going to that just felt very weird.
Fair play, fair play. Shoot, I had a good question for you, but it looks like oh yeah, okay. So someone's asking, he just says multicam tropic question mark. But
I love multicam tropic.
well, okay. I want to know out of all the different multicam variations, which one is your favorite?
Tropic.
Is it tropic? Okay.
Arid is growing on me. At first, I was like, Arid is just like faded multicam. Well, now I go back and I see more Arid stuff. It's really cool because they basically used the color template from 3-Color Desert, but applied it to the color swatch or pattern or dispersion way that multicam uses. It's really, really cool.
I personally am a huge fan of multicam black. I actually
I
saw Brain Exploder wearing it, and it looked so cool. I really want to pick up a set.
I have a multicam black loadout.
Unacceptable.
Yeah, that's what I was wearing with my red hood. My red hood cosplay.
Now, I will say that multicam tropic, it works really well in certain environments. Didn't you play at Balahack wearing that or something, or some of the game in a very green environment?
Yeah, I think I did play with it once, but it wasn't like the cool combat uniform. It was like the the standard uniform. But it's a cool setup. It's very, very, very vibrant. Like if I was playing in Hawaii, that's all I would wear.
Dude, yeah, no, that would be an excellent area to do it. What is your favorite pistol, Greg?
It's funny. I'm not much of a pistol guy.
I did notice that.
But because like if you see me play Airsoft, I'm probably one of the few guys that never runs with a pistol.
I can't even remember a time when I saw you have your pistol out in a game. I feel like I've seen
like,
you in a photo shoot.
I'm
but
so
that's
much
it.
more of a rifle guy. But I mean, I do like the Elite Force 1911. I mean, the TM Glock is really nice too. I mean, I don't have super strong opinions. Like I'm not like Team Glock or Team 1911. But I know I wonder if Calvin's watching. Oops.
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
So yeah, he's a buddy of mine. He is the Firepower United guy. I wonder if he's watching.
Fuck long, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Or how do you say fuck or?
Yeah, it's how you pronounce it.
Fair play. But playing in the summer, black, it's so hot. Well, yeah. I mean, if you're gonna play,
I did wear it. I think I did wear it at the Water Wars game. I think it was wearing.
That was like 85 degrees. No, you weren't something else. You weren't wearing multicam black.
So I thought, what was I wearing? Oh, because
you were wearing like a plate carrier, and I thought like some short sleeve. Okay,
black.
maybe that was it. Yeah, that was a fun game though.
That was a fun game.
I'm glad no one got injured because that field, for those of you that don't know,
like, oh my God.
Well, yeah, I was very worried about it just for our players and for especially the younger kids. I mean, it's an abandoned water park, so there are a lot of hazards that go with that. Piles of broken glass. There are,
any kind of abandoned facility has its hazards.
Well, the one thing for me is the rails that used to be there that were cut off. Like there's about an inch and a half of like sharp metal that you could just gash yourself on. So I was just so happy.
Well, I mean, like a Faded Giant, you follow the railing, you can die.
Yeah, that's true.
You can die.
And especially some of those East Coast fields, I'm actually acutely aware of this. Are ticks? Ticks can be a big problem, especially if you catch Lyme disease.
Ticks. I know you've had a history of ticks.
Yeah.
Me with ticks, I just pick them up. The thing I hate is freaking what are those the chiggers?
Chiggers, yes.
I hate those because the bites from those never go away.
Can't say that. Okay, let's see. My teammates come on.
I just messaged Calvin. I said, "Watch the show."
Oh, wait, Firepower United's here.
Oh, hey.
Fook. Okay, thank you.
What's up, buddy?
Thank you, Calvin. Good to see you here
There
today.
go my egg roll.
Love your videos. They are hilarious. I remember even watching him interview Larry Vickers.
Yeah.
It's funny how seriously, Mr. Vickers took it. Was like totally just diving into it.
Oh,
so.
I mean, that's what's kind of cool about the gun community and stuff like that too. And it's like, I don't know, I love how he's like, he's working with all these really, really cool dudes and everything like that. And I don't know, it's just funny. And he brings a lot of good humor and comedy to firearms.
Yeah, I mean, that video on the M1 Garand got shared the heck around.
I love that one.
Yeah, that was cool.
Your reloads on the M1 Grand video, man, yes.
Well, I especially like
that's how you run.
The thumbnail picture was pretty legit.
Yeah. Or Garen Grant.
Yes. Oh, wow, can't even say that either. All right, let's see. Can't say that. For maritime, I don't know if you have an opinion on this, but for a maritime loadout, what camouflage would you recommend and what color plate carrier?
LBT has mass gray. It's kind of like their VVSS I mean, I'm pretty sure that specific color palette was kind of meant for that because it's a very neutral gray.
Yeah.
But basically, ships on your average are gray. So I would wear something gray. Yeah.
Touche.
Wolf gray or mass gray.
All right. Well, for any of you guys who have joined us a little bit later in the stream, I just want to let you know we have a couple guns here up on the table. We've got VFC Scars, both the heavy and the light, which Greg is playing with right now, that are decked out with some PTS furniture, but we have the VFC Scars on special right now for somewhere between $120 and $170 off. Generally a high-tier gun at a mid-tier price, most of them are below $300. And we also have the Mega Arms MKM AR-15 here, which Greg is holding up, also available on our website. I definitely really like PTS products, specifically, I believe, what is it, the Raptor Arms charging handle?
Yeah, the Raptor and the Mega Slide Lock, which is another ambidextrous charging handle.
I am going to be picking up one of those Fortis grips, though. Those look legit. They're very comfortable. They're not as heavy as you'd expect. They're actually very lightweight. And I'm very much looking forward to this rail segment, hopefully coming out in the near future from you guys at PTS. And definitely one of the guns that I wish I had in my armory and do not yet have is the PTS ERG. That is such a fun gun. I was actually playing with Greg, I think it was like a year or two ago. We're at SC Village.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah. And you're like, Bob, cease fire, not hitting anything. I was like, Greg, I don't care. This is so much fun. So those guns are a lot of fun.
It's great because I know you like gas guns because the recoil and satisfaction, but the ERG, in my opinion, is like the perfect combination between gas and electric. There is that one other gun that that DAS gun or whatever.
Yes.
Which was cool. The only problem is that thing's like $2,000 or $3,000. So in terms of like day-to-day BB Wars usage, the ERG is kind of like the recoil gun to have, especially here in the States. Obviously, if you're in Japan, you probably have TM recoil shocks a little bit more readily available.
All right, we've got another question for you, Greg. AOR2 or multicam Tropic?
Tropic.
I knew you were going to go there. I actually would err on the side of multicam Tropic as well. I really like the look of that over AOR2. There was another.
Yeah, the whole Navy is switching over to AOR.
Oh, really?
Too, yeah.
Oh, actually, I did.
Yeah, they're all switching to the land cam. It's like about time, you blueberries.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, cool, you want a Navy distinctive uniform, but is that actually going to be effective anywhere?
Look like the water.
Yeah. Nice.
ACU was bad, but the blueberry camo was worse.
Yeah, no, that is true.
Maybe.
You tell him, Greg. Now, do you? I personally don't know when Multicam Alpine is going to be released. Do you know?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think Matt's made, like my buddy Matt Washington, he's made stuff in Multicam Alpine, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the material's available. I just don't know if any products have been made available. Like, you can. I think they have the fabric for people to buy so they can start making stuff. I just don't think any company's really dedicated themselves to making it because it's such a, like, that's probably the most niche version of them because unless you work in an alpine environment or like cold weather environment, there really is no use to it for it. But this is really cool. They should feature it in a movie for like some pseudo stormtroopers or something.
This is a good question for both of us, Greg, and I feel like I know where you're going to go with it, but Blackout Division, I'm trying to pick out a new rifle for a huge Milsim game. I'm going to. It must be under 400. Can you guys help out?
Let's see. Well.
That's from, it's right there.
Let's see. One, it kind of depends if you want gas or electric.
Yes.
Then it also kind of depends on your budget and what kind of play style. If you're going to be, sticking in the back or more. Typically, most carbines, even if it's a short barrel, typically on the average, a lot of performance between carbines, you pretty much can flex between medium to close. Yeah, budget's a big concern there. So that actually filters out a lot of options, just how much money you have to spend.
Well, if you could just give them a recommendation for under 400, what would you tell them? And it'd probably be your personal preference. So
let's see. Well, if you want the realism, let's say the ERG is a really good setup. The ERG, if you don't care about having recoil, the Crytek's are pretty good. Let's see. I mean, and if you like gas, obviously, well, the Mega's a little bit above 400. It's like this one's like only like 420. But any LM4 is a pretty good option for a gas gun. But if you're wanting to stick with an AEG, I mean, that's pretty much like the two main AEGs I bounce between is the ERG and the Crytek. Those are like the two M4s that I just constantly switch between. just depends which day I feel like we're using which one.
I actually would agree mostly with Greg in this respect. I think an ERG would be great and a lot of fun for a Milsim game. I'd also think I have a Crytek SPR. That's a great gun for a Milsim game. I think right now, just with this specific deal on the VFC Scars, I would get those and then use the extra money to either deck them out, get extra mags, or adapt your kit to the gun.
That is a really good point, because for under 300, now you can spend all the extra money on optics, batteries, consumables. Well, if you already have M4 mags, you're already good with the Scarred Light. So.
That gentleman says he's going to Overwatch. I'm not familiar with that game. I'm only familiar with the video game, which is a lot of fun. What is that MP5 above us in the back? I actually do not know. That's a very old gun with a 3D.
Which one?
This MP5. It's actually, go for it. It's got a custom paint job and I believe a 3D printed handguard. Very, very old. Very old.
It's got a button built into the handguard.
Yeah, it does.
See, this is what happens when you get to come to the GI Live show. You get to play with all these guns.
Yeah, we've been changing some of the ones up here pretty consistently. My favorite one out of all the guns, which got asked earlier, I didn't answer it, is the HPA DMR up there. I saw Josh, our current editor, get kills at unheard of ranges at Operation Irene when it used to be back at Fort Knox. That is an amazing gun. It's the first time I actually used binoculars at a Milsim event and were effective.
And you were like, adjust your hold.
Oh, there's right there, just 2 clicks down. Yeah, see the guy on the stairs? Yeah, dome him. So.
And if you are having windage problems at Milsim events, all you have to do, if the wind's coming from my left to my right, I just count the rifle more into the wind, and the BBs will fly straighter and they'll fight the wind better.
So it moves the hop up into the wind.
Basically, you're using the hop up to counter the wind, and you'll get a little bit of deviation, but it's going to fly a hell of a lot straighter. Oh, at the last Copperhead, so I was shooting out of a window, and the guy was running, he was like across the street running away, so I'm kind of like shooting, and so I kind of canted the weapon a little bit, and so the BBs were like chasing him, and I hit him.
Nice.
Oh my god, that was great.
Thanks, Greg.
Like the guy that I was with was like, no way. I was like, dude, I think I hit that guy. Because I was like, a lot of times when you're shooting at people running and they're just running, and you're like, I'm probably not going to hit him, or he may not feel it, or whatever. But I was like, I'm shooting at something like, dup, 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 and then all of a sudden I see his hand was
I used to do that with spring shotguns because their hop ups are preset. So if you do Cantum 90 degrees, they'll actually curve a little bit around, so you can hit people that are either
wantedness, like just barely around a corner.
A little bit, yeah.
In.
I mean, it's kind of cheesy, but
if it works, it works.
Yeah, if it's stupid, it works.
It's funny you mentioned the MP5 because I'm kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to catch the MP5 bug again, but I want to do a Stargate SG1 loadout. And in the beginning, they used the MP5s before they transitioned to the P90. I do like the P90, but it's just carrying a bunch of P90 mags around is not exactly as easy as carrying, MP5 mags, because it sticks.
Well, if I remember correctly, the person who I know who uses P90s the most is
P90 girl.
Bingo. And she generally uses, and I could be wrong, but every time I've seen her, she uses the P90 box mag.
Oh,
so which cuts down, you can use an M4 high cap.
Yeah.
So. Are you guys going to Faded Giant 5? I currently don't have plans to. I've never been. I want to go. Are you going, Greg?
Schedule dictating, maybe. So we'll see what
play.
happens. But I am going to Op 34, so that's...
Oh, that's right. You're going to American
yeah,
Milsim
that's like,
34,
yeah, October 1st. It'll be cool, because I'll get to see Matt Washington again.
Oh, nice.
Buddy of mine from Fort Bragg.
Great team, right?
Yep.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, he came out to Timber Spa before.
No, I remember Matt. He was a really good guy.
Yeah, that was his first big game.
Yeah, he's a funny guy. I like him. Yeah.
And now he makes custom gear at Samurai Suey.
God bless him. Let's see. There was another good question. Is G&G a good brand, internals and all? My opinion, yes. They also cater to a wide variety of airsofters. They have beginner line of guns, they have medium tier, and they have the high end guns.
And they also make an M1 Yaren.
Ooh, look at that,
Charlie.
Man.
But yeah, I'm probably gonna pick a that M1 Grand up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's readily available. It's really cool. Can't wait to play it.
This is another question, just to go back to the World War II games, because if I was going to be competitive at a World War II game, which is a stupid statement in and of itself, I would probably want to be on the Russian side, because I would take a PPSH, a Peppershaw, and just go to town. Because that's full auto.
That's a really effective gun. Yeah. I mean, you still have the Thompson, you still have the grease gun, and you still got...
But PPSH holds like 1,000 rounds, though.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How far does it shoot, though?
Relatively far. Like in Game Pod, I think you can cross like about half the field. So it's not bad. I mean, it's a submachine gun, but
That,
it's still got
that
a
would
long
be
barrel.
great for clearing out fighting positions
Yeah.
and stuff too. But like if you're crossing open ground, then I hope you have some range or move really fast. But I mean that's what's kind of cool is like I don't know if they're gonna do it where the Russians. Like, here's the question:
doubt it.
Are the Russians gonna be on the Axis, or are they gonna make them on the Allies? Because like in the beginning of the war,
But they didn't go.
they were kind of like a neutral. Like they didn't really.
Well, they divvied up Poland. Yeah.
They did
Yeah.
before. But then Germany kind of decided to Germany decided to stab in the back, and then Russia was like no.
That's exactly what they're like.
Stalingrad happened then.
Oh yes.
But I'm not gonna lie, Germans made the Russian suffer really bad at Stalingrad though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it went both ways.
I heard a really good phrase about it. Never has a better trained army fought harder for a worse cause than the German Wehrmacht in World War II. Let's see, what's next? Milsim you're going to for Greg, that was Op 34 by American Milsim. I'm personally hoping to go to the Kazakh Insurgency by Milsim West.
That's Milsim West's next California game.
All right.
And actually, Jeff Takeda from PTS, he's going to be the chief of police. So if you want to see Jeff,
at the game.
yes.
Okay, yeah.
And Jeff, he's a cool guy. So he's our military law enforcement consultant guy. He was prior USMC, then he was SWAT team, then he's a detective. Now he's doing awesome stuff.
Yeah, I've played Airsoft with him a few times. He's actually a really fun guy to play with.
He's a fun guy to play with, and I actually got to hang out with him a lot at Jump to Rostov.
Nice.
That was really cool. Bonding time.
Real quick, I'm going to try and go through a few more questions so we are running out of time. Regular multi-cam versus Project Honor camo.
Probably, I mean, like Project Honor, I think it's a cool collector's camo because it was in the game, but multi-cam's way more effective.
Same here. We already did next Milsim. Favorite gun on the table, Greg?
It's really tough because I really like Scars. Like, I love the Mega. The Mega's really, really nice. But I do love Scars too, especially when they have that rail on there. It's, like, it's really tough. I don't know, it's kind of a tie between this one and the Scar Heavy.
I'm actually going to go with the Mega Arms because out of anything, I do prefer gas blowback rifles. Yes, Cody Mallet, PPSH is sexy. It is a very good gun.
And all those people running Mosin and Gons at MSW, they could, probably use those too.
Best color of BDUs for SC Village. I'm going to go with Desert ATAX, but I'm partial to that because I really like that
Any
camo.
kind of desert camo will work there. But I mean, then again, you are having bright bands sticking off you, so how well are you playing?
Have you guys seen the KWA gas blowback Thompson prototype at SHOT Show? Yes, I have.
That was like, what, 2 years ago?
It's KWA soon. So it was this last year they had it, and then the year before.
I think that was one of their like SHOT Show prototypes.
Yeah.
They make a lot of stuff to show, but that
Engage interest and all that. Yeah.
Interest, yeah.
They also had an MP40.
I should probably bug that. Hey, you still have that?
Yeah, that would be fun to use.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they did have MP40. Yeah. I think the thing about it's not enough just to make a World War II gun. You need to have places for people to use it.
Correct.
That's what will generate interest. It's just simply making the gun won't generate interest. It's making a platform for people to use it, or for people to get with other people who have that stuff to use it. Otherwise, it just becomes a fancy piece that sits on the wall. So.
Indeed. We ran a little bit over time. I just wanted to give us a little bit more time since you did drive all the way out here with your secret supervisor. Now, just to reiterate, guys, real quick, if you guys are looking for a SCAR or at least a high-end gun at a mid-tier price, check out our SCAR Heavies and our SCAR Lights on our website. I believe that both of these models are $120 off at around $268.99. We also have the DMR variant for $170 off. This is the most affordable price in the entire world. So if you want to get one of these or get a high-end gun at a mid-tier price, get them now while supplies last. Also, make sure to check out the Mega Arms MKM AR-15 on their on our website. We do have it up there, as well as the full range of PTS products. I'm specifically going to push the vertical foregrips, as well as they're both vertical foregrips, the Fortis grips. I'm going to get one of those very soon. And if you guys haven't yet, make sure to sign up for Hidden Dagger, which is going to be at D14 Airsoft on October 9th. I would suggest signing up on the Rebel side, but tickets are available for both. But check that out, and once again, also check out PTS's Facebook and the rest of their social media. In addition to this guy's channel, Spartan117GW.
It's always a mouthful.
I used to say 117, and I was totally wrong. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Greg, thank you so much for coming out here. Supervisor, thanks for supervising and your amazing artwork. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Do your part. Would you like to know more?
Nice.